The Vikings, trade and exploration in the North Sea, cinematic shots of stormy seas, longships cutting through waves and misty coastlines. Narrator: it carried the echoes of wooden longships slicing through icy waters, their dragon-headed prows announcing the arrival of the Norsemen. To some, they were feared raiders. To others, shrewd traders and daring explorers. 1,000 years ago, the roar of the North Sea wasn't just the sound of wind and waves. Harsh winters, rocky soils, and limited farmland made life a constant challenge. But these very hardships forged a people willing to risk everything beyond the horizon. This is the story of the Vikings, their trade, their exploration, and how they turned the North Sea into the beating heart of their world. The Viking raid that followed shocked Christendom and marked the beginning of what would later be called the VikingAge, the Viking world. Our journey begins in Scandinavia, the rugged lands of Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. By the late 8th century, Norse seafarers had developed ships like nothing the world had seen. Sleek, shallow-drafted vessels that could navigate both oceans and rivers. With these, they transformed the North Sea from a barrier into a highway. This expertise allowed them not only to raid, but to establish permanent settlements in faraway lands. The first voyages, from raiding to trading in Ireland, Dublin grew from a Viking longfort or ship fortress into a thriving trade hub. Amber from the Baltic, walrus ivory from Greenland, furs from the north, and iron tools flowed south. Their goods traveled not just across the North Sea, but deep into Europe via rivers like the Seine and the Rhine. The end of an era. By the 11th century, the Viking Age was drawing to a close. The Vikings may be remembered for their raids, but it was their trade and exploration that truly shaped the world. From icy fjords to sunlit markets, they connected cultures, carried ideas, and turned the North Sea into the crossroads of medieval Europe. Christianity spread through Scandinavia, uniting the Norse under monarchs who preferred crowns to war helmets. Treasures of the North. So what did the Vikings trade? Archaeology has uncovered their treasures. Silver hoards buried in English fields, Arabic dirhams that journeyed from the Caliphate to Scandinavia, beads from the Middle East, and even silk that had crossed the Silk Road. And on the edges of Europe, they reached as far as Iceland, Greenland, and even Vinland in North America. And master them they did. The North Sea, notorious for storms and treacherous tides, became their playground. Towns they founded like York and Dublin thrived long after the longships stopped sailing. In return, they brought back silver coins, silks from the east, and even spices that had traveled across continents. In 793 AD, the monks of Lindisfarne in Northumbria watched in horror as strange ships appeared on the horizon. But not all Viking voyages were about plunder. Many were driven by trade. Ports like Hedeby, Rib, and Koppang became bustling centers of commerce, linking Scandinavia with the British Isles, Frankish kingdoms, and beyond. Masters of the North Sea. To control trade, the Vikings needed to master the seas. They knew its hidden currents, its seasonal winds, and the secret routes along coasts and islands. Settlements and trade networks. In England, the Danelaw emerged a swath of territory under Viking control. Across the Channel, they founded Normandy, land of the Northmen. Through these settlements, the Vikings built a vast network of trade. These finds tell us the Vikings were not isolated, barbarians but key players in a global economy, but their legacy endured. The trade routes they forged became arteries of medieval commerce. Fade to calm seas at sunset, a lone Viking ship in silhouette. Their ships are long gone, but their story still sails on the winds of history.